You ever have one of those mornings where you open your eyes expecting nothing but the smell of coffee and the sound of birds, and instead, you get a bulldozer in your front yard? Yeah, that happened. I thought I'd get 10 quiet minutes on my porch before real life barged in, but instead, I stepped outside and saw my world getting torn up like some twisted episode of This Old House meets Hunger Games. No warning, no call, just a beast of a machine carving through my grass like it was enemy territory, and some guy in a neon vest acting like he owned the place. That's how my war with the HOA started, a war they didn't even bother to declare. Let me back up a sec. It was a Friday, early, that icy Virginia chill still hanging in the air. I was out there in my slippers and t-shirt, clutching my mug, staring at what used to be my carefully nursed lawn, now looking like a demolition derby had come through. Gravel, bits of my driveway, sod I'd sweated over for years, just churned up and tossed aside like trash. And there was the foreman, thick-necked, clipboard glued to his hand, waving at the bulldozer driver to keep going, as if my front yard was his overtime project. For 3 seconds, I didn't even breathe. My brain flat-out rejected what it was seeing. Then the machine roared closer, biting another chunk out of my stone edging, and my body snapped awake. I charged down those steps in a blind panic, yelling, "Hey, stop! What the hell are you doing?" The foreman looked at me, all smug, and says, "Morning, sir. We've got authorization. Community access improvement." Holds up a wad of paperwork like it's the Magna Carta. Right there on his shirt, West Rock Estates, HOA. My stomach turned. I said, "I'm not in your HOA. This is private property. You're trespassing." He taps the stack. "Not anymore. Temporary public access servitude. Signed by the HOA president, MS. Karen Milner. Owner notified." "That'd be you." I snatched those papers out of his hand. No signature from me, just some sorry forgery that might as well have been a kid's doodle. "This is fake," I said, waving it in his face. He shrugged. "Look, pal, I don't make the rules. I follow the work order." Then he turned to the crew. "Hang tight." Owners being uncooperative. Like I was the criminal here, standing in my own yard. I called 911, my hands shaking, but not from fear, just absolute white-hot disbelief. When the police showed up, I thought, finally, sanity. 2 officers, one older, one young, already looking confused. I pointed at the bulldozer like I just caught Bigfoot. "They're destroying my property." The foreman, of course, greeted them like old drinking buddies, handed over the same bogus paperwork. The younger cop scrolled through the land registry on his tablet. "According to GPS, this strip is marked as community access." I just stared at him. "That's wrong. Pull up the original parcel map." He did, and what came up was some Frankenstein's monster version of my property, boundary lines blurred and stretched out of recognition. The officer shrugged. "Could be a glitch or a recent update." I barked out a laugh. "A glitch? Really?" With all that official-looking paper and digital records mysteriously changed, the police just couldn't do a thing. They took my complaint and left. The bulldozer fired back up. My wife and daughter were watching from the doorway. I couldn't even look at them. For the first time in years, I felt that old deployment chill crawl up my spine. Someone had declared war on me, and they thought I'd just take it. Next morning, I was first in line at the county records office, coffee in one hand, folder of every property document I had in the other. Didn't sleep at all. Double-checked my deed, my original survey, the parcel maps from 8 years ago. Everything said the same thing. This was my land, no easement, no community access. But after what happened, I wasn't taking anyone's word for it. Janelle, the clerk, pulled up the records. "That's strange," she said. "Your parcel map was updated last Thursday." She tilted the screen. My lot, 109B, now showed this fresh gray overlay, temporary community access corridor, Route B. "That's not the original map." She pulled up older versions, 3 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 6 months, clean as could be. The change had been submitted by the HOA. Purpose: access realignment due to obstruction. Approved inferred consent from adjacent parcel owner. Inferred consent. Like I'd nodded along in my sleep. Janelle looked pale. "This shouldn't have gone through without your signature." I printed everything, took screenshots, went home, and called my old surveyor, Leo, retired Navy, no patience for nonsense. He came out that afternoon, drone in one hand, GPS gear in the other. 3 hours later, he'd mapped it all. There's no servitude, no easement, no gray area. This is your land, Kendrick. Period. I felt like I was finally holding the truth in my hands. Doorbell rings. My neighbor Paul Finch, the only neighbor I ever liked, IT guy, 2 beagles, never any drama. He looked jumpy. Saw the construction, everything all right. I told him what happened. He scratched his neck. Turns out Karen told everyone at a meeting the main road was blocked, so they needed a secondary route, and the county signed off. Nobody mentioned my yard. Of course not. I thanked him, then called the county zoning department, pretending I was just another curious homeowner. When I asked about Route B, the woman on the line turned cold. If you didn't consent, that's a problem. Especially if any documents were altered. Oh, they were. That night, surrounded by maps and deeds and photos of my ruined lawn, I put together an evidence dump that could sink a ship, then started calling everyone I knew. Next stop, Karen Milner herself, HOA president, master of ceremonies, queen of the cul-de-sac. Her house was 4 doors down, shutters so perfect you'd think she measured them with calipers. Door opens just enough for her to peer out. Mr. Kendrick, to what do I owe this visit? I laid it out. You bulldozed my property, forged my name, submitted fake documents. She opened the door, arms crossed, cold smile. We acted in the community's best interests. You live inside our border, whether you like it or not. I kept my voice low and steady. You don't own my land. You don't control it. And you're going to fix every inch you destroyed. She just smiled. Feel free to take legal action. Our paperwork is in order. You can't prove anything. She slammed the door. I sat in my truck, fuming, then called my land use attorney. No answer. So I called Eric, old college buddy, now an investigative reporter. He picked up on the first ring. They really bulldozed your yard and faked county approvals? You got it. I'll send you everything. By the time I got home, Eric was already digging. He texted me a draft headline, HOA accused of destroying veterans' lawn for unauthorized road construction. Then, this'll blow up. Brace yourself. He wasn't kidding. By Monday morning, my story was everywhere. Local news, HOA watchdog blogs, even Reddit threads with titles like Karen claims veterans' lawn for the community good. The real kicker was when the county finally responded. No record of official approval. All the county stamps were fake. They opened an investigation. Eric's follow-up proved the documents were forgeries. Karen's name was on every single page. I was still rereading that article when a government suburban pulled up. 2 folks from the Commonwealth's attorney's office came inside, got coffee, listened to everything. I played them Eric's recording of the contractor, Karen telling the crew to paint me as dangerous if I push back. He's ex-military. Play the vet card. Trust me, it'll work. The agents took notes, thanked me, left. I called my lawyer again. This time he picked up. This is going nuclear. Karen's being looked at for forgery, abuse of position, and falsifying records. Then the dominoes started falling. Contractors came forward. One of them, Todd, handed over a flash drive with a phone call from Karen. If Kendrick shows up screaming, tell him you're working under county orders. If he threatens anyone, record it. We'll have legal grounds to bury him in complaints. Play the vet card. Then a second contractor, Eli, dropped a mountain of text messages from Karen. Push the gravel up to the driveway. Just go over the bushes. Nobody's going to prosecute an HOA. You'll get your bonus if no one files a report. They had her, plain and simple. The HOA's own board members started to jump ship. Some admitted Karen had shown them doctored maps, threatened them into compliance, claimed the county was behind it all. Eric even got a hold of an email chain. Karen harassing zoning staff, threatening to go over their heads to a made-up official. It went viral, and suddenly, folks all over the country were reaching out. People whose HOAs had tried the same stunts. The lawsuits started stacking up. My civil claim alone was for $1.8 million. The county ordered a full audit. The state began a criminal probe. By the time the dust settled, Karen was indicted on felony counts, fraud, conspiracy, coercion, and destruction of private property. The insurance company dropped the HOA like a hot potato, leaving them fully exposed. Karen lost her title, then her job, then her house. When the trial came, the courtroom was packed. The evidence was a landslide: fake maps, audio tapes, misused HOA funds, you name it. Even the defense couldn't keep a straight face. After 3 days, the jury handed down their verdict. HOA liable for everything, Karen personally on the hook for damages. $2.3 million, and a court order to liquidate her assets. Karen got 11 years in federal prison, no parole for the first 5. After the verdict, I went home and stood in my ruined yard. Not angry, not even happy, just tired. But then my wife came out with a mug of coffee, my daughter with a new sapling, and we started rebuilding one piece at a time. Every strip of sod, every stone I laid with my own hands. And wouldn't you know it, my story went national. I got calls from people in Florida, Oregon, Texas, lawmakers, journalists. I ended up testifying at a state hearing on HOA reform. 3 months later, they passed a bill. No more land grabs. No more fake easements. No more Karen steamrolling through people's lives. I put a simple stone plaque on my rebuilt lawn, in honor of those who stood their ground against those who thought they could steal it. Sometimes people leave notes or photos of their own battle-scarred yards. I never asked to be a symbol. I just wanted my grass back. But here's the thing. When you fight with facts and grit and refuse to let yourself be steamrolled, sometimes you get more than your lawn back. You get your dignity. You get to stand where you belong. So, here's my question. What would you do if someone tried to take what's yours? Drop your stories below. I want to hear them. Because I promise you, there's more of us than there are of them. And if you ever wake up to a bulldozer in your yard, well, you know who to call.